morning, and welcome to Cover 2 Cook. We are on episode 177. Happy Christmas Eve and Merry Christmas if you're watching this. We are going to recap this Sunday night and Monday night football games and then talk about the must-watch games in the NFL this weekend. As remember, college football playoff is on a bye this week. They'll come back next week. So we talk about that. And then we got to do Tim's best bets as he's going for 4-0. I mean, we're into the final couple weeks on this one. We really need the 4-0. And then the final thing we're going to do as well is I'm just going to give like a quick 2-minute Notre Dame saga as they have switched up their schedule and there's a lot of people upset. So let's get it started.
Yeah. I was going to do a vertical jump there. Thank you, Socks.
Travel been to Indiana, and did Cover 2 Cook get you a good hotel?
Indiana? No, I'm in Louisiana. I'm here for Mardi Gras.
I know that this might be hard, but I don't know how much you remember Friday night since we left you damn near when you fell asleep.
I got my belly full, man. I was like, I warm covers and warm. I was like, I could go to sleep right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Jack Dorsey.
Final answer?
Yes. All right.
This is going to be a long fucking day.
Welcome back to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 177. I'm here with Anthony and Tim. And first of all, we just want to say happy holidays to everybody, as this is a very exciting week for everybody. So let's talk about our quick recap of the Sunday night football game. Anthony, talk to me about the Patriots versus Ravens.
Yeah, so right off the bat, Patriots, big game to win. Because this seemed like at one point they weren't going to win this game. Ravens were competing with them even without Lamar Jackson. Stephon Diggs, what a teammate now. I mean, for as problematic as people have called him, he's on the sideline teaching people. He's having great stats as well. The only thing the Patriots need to uptick on as they're going to keep going towards the playoffs is the running attack. This is the first game in a while that their running attack was not as dominant as it was supposed to be. Now, I know Henderson got hurt in this game, but don't you have Stevenson? Isn't that it just seemed like the running attack's got to get better. On the other side, Ravens, Lamar Jackson hurt again. Like it's every year. It's like taxes, death, and Lamar Jackson getting hurt. And then Derrick Henry not getting the ball in the second half much or at all. I don't believe. Harbaugh talked about it after. I kind of forgot. What are you talking about? That's the biggest dude on the sideline, and you forget about it. Which has now resulted in a lot of people calling for Harbaugh's job. Honestly, if you look at the AFC North, that Tomlin's been on the hot seat recently. You got now Harbaugh getting talked about. There's a lot of coaches that might be ending the season as a free agent in the coaching world because I think Harbaugh's a good coach. I don't understand the firing, but I understand not being happy with mediocre every year, and that's what it seems like with the Ravens. They just can't win those big games, and now they're crumbling.
Yeah, it definitely feels like an off season for me, at least, when I watch them. It doesn't seem like they're a typical strong unit like they've been in the years past. But if your, fearless leader of Lamar is constantly hurt, that has a big piece to play in it. Tim, what did you think when you watched this game?
I think for the Patriots, I think Drake May, after having a kind of a down week, so-called down week, he's the dude. Over 400 yards of total offense from this guy, 380 passing. He got his team back. He can make a comeback. That was his big bugaboo, is can he lead a team back from down in the fourth quarter? Yeah, he can. Of course, when you don't have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry playing, pretty damn easy for your defense to do that. Yeah. I mean, another thing, I think you got to give kudos to Mike Vrabel this year. This team only won 8 games the last 2 years. He's got this team back on track. They had it with Buffalo. I think when they get to the playoffs, they got to win at least one game. But if they don't, I think he's got this team ready to go after the first year. For Baltimore, John Harbaugh. You mean to tell me that part of the road, because they have a rotation in the running back with Derrick Henry and Mitchell, Keon Mitchell, I think his name is. But when the game comes down the line, you can't keep putting Henry back in the backfield. You sent him out the last 12 minutes of the game because that's not the part of the rotation? Bullshit. You're mad at him because he fumbled. And you thought you would set him down. No. And I'm telling you right now, if they don't make the playoffs, which is leaning towards it, I think there's a time for change. I think it's ran its course.
Yeah.
And I think one thing is their defense is not that good. I don't think their defense is good. Again, you have Lamar Jackson hurt again, like you said. You have Derrick Henry, which is the best running back, one of the top 5 running backs in the NFL, and you're not playing him. There's something else going on. I think the message, the players are not getting the message, or they're not listening anymore. And if they don't make the playoffs, I think it's time for a change. I know Andy Reid in Philadelphia, he was there 13, 14 years. They just mutually parted ways. I think it's time for there. I think they need a clean slate in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. We'll have to see how that fizzles out then. Well, Tim, why don't you take me over to the Monday night game with the 49ers and Colts? How was that?
We'll make this real quick. Brock Purdy was dealing 5 touchdowns. He was spreading the love to all the receivers. On defense, they recovered a fumble for a touchdown and later interception for a touchdown. For the Colts, they couldn't sustain drives. Rivers started with 2 touchdowns, but they couldn't get anything else going. They're one-dimensional. The running attack went totally away. But I think what has happened is these defenses are they're playing better teams. So they're just putting 8, 9 men in the box, and we'll let Phillip Rivers beat us. Their defense is, you give up. Their defense is terrible right now. I know they're without Sauce Gardner, but 5 passing touchdowns. I mean, without Sauce and Ward, but you still give up 115 yards to Kittle. You can't do that, man. And they allowed 20 passing first downs. The Colts are cooked. I think they're done. I said that in, I think, our last podcast. They're not making the playoffs, and I don't know who you start with next year.
Yeah.
Do you start with Jones or not? Or do you go out and get somebody? Because he's known to be hurt as well. So I don't know what you do in Indianapolis. You got to get something on that defense. I know that.
Yeah.
Well, I know Anthony was watching this game pretty closely because, like we said in the last podcast, Anthony's fantasy results depended on Monday night. So, Anthony, what was your takeaway from Monday night?
Yeah, I don't think you can blame Phillip Rivers in this game. I think Phillip Rivers played pretty well. Yes, he had a pick 6 that wasn't great, but that game was out of hand before that. Let's be honest. I definitely agree with you saying the secondary with injuries. I mean, Ward was out. You had Sauce Gardner out. Jonathan Taylor didn't play. It didn't seem like he played. I know he did play, but he didn't seem like he did. On the other side, 49ers, McCaffrey's relentless. He is absolutely relentless. The way that he takes shots and then gets right back up and then next play he's doing it again, they just run that offense right through him. Final thing was Juwan Jennings scores a touchdown, goes over the crowd to hand the ball to him, and then goes, oh, psych! Little Grinch-like on Christmas time. I love it. It was a Colts fan. There was a 49ers one to the side he could have gave the ball to, but to a Colts fan, not going to happen. One other thing I wanted to say about this game was there was a different viewing that you could have saw for this game. It had Luke Kuechly, Dan Orlowski. It was more stat-based. I will say this right now. We talk about Phil Rivers could still play. We talk about Tom Brady could still play. Luke Kuechly still could play football. That man is so smart. He's listening. I've never heard of people actually sitting there trying to listen to the quarterback before the play happens and things like that. Luke Kuechly called an interception for a pick 6. He was like, Phillip Rivers is calling to the right, stuff like that. I just wish Luke Kuechly was one of my favorite linebackers of all time. He was from Boston College, did really good, but that was kind of a cool way to see it. Dan Orlowski's Dan Orlowski, but Luke Kuechly, watching someone do that like that, it's kind of reminded me of like when Tony Romo came on and those quarterbacks that were like calling the plays before the plays happened. I love that as I'm watching the game, hearing from an announcer.
Well, and I'm sure our viewers know who that is, but for me, where did he play and for how long?
Yeah, so he played for the Panthers for the longest time, and then, I think he played for the Panthers the whole time. He didn't play for anyone else. He is one of the ones that caught my eye because he had concussions, and the last concussion he sustained as an NFL player, he was actually crying as they were taking him off the field. And it was just one of those eye-awakening moments that it's like, yes, players get hurt, but like this is a man that is like flips a switch on and is one of the most violent athletes that we've ever seen. But he's crying on the way out because I don't know if he knows where he's at. That's crazy to think about. That's the long-term effects. He actually retired early because he was like, I'm done with all the concussions and things like that. But just hearing him now makes sense why he coaches with Greg Olson with their Pee-wee squad running routes and stuff like that. It would be funny to actually see him at a higher level because I think he has the mind for it.
Oh, wow. Very interesting. Okay. Okay.
One
Well,
last thing with the 49ers winning, I think they win out, they win the NFC West.
Yes.
So that could put the Rams could win 11 games. This is crazy. Could win 11 games and probably be the 6th or 7th seed.
Yeah. And that's why they need to change the seeding
I know.
thing. We
Yep.
talked about it last year with the Vikings and the Lions going into week 18. Actually, just to add on to that, the 49ers could be at home the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So
You're
if
right.
they have
There.
last two home games, then the playoffs would run through them, and then the Super Bowl's there. So if they win, they're staying at home the whole time. So
That'd be nice.
that'd be cool.
Yeah. That'd be nice if Denver played them too.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna make it, but
Never know.
yeah, I think they got a competition coming up with the Chiefs.
Yeah, okay.
all right. Well, let's dig into it more. I was expecting a little more, animosity when you were talking about the Colts versus 49ers. So let's dive into your fantasy results. How did we end up? We were down to the wire. What are we looking like?
Yeah, so it came down to it on Monday night. So let's just back up, just so people haven't tuned in. 4-2, right? Week 6, going into week 7, done pretty well. And then I can't lose 10 in a row, right? And lose the final game. It came down to Monday night. Juwan Jennings had to have less than 13 points. Mm-hmm. He had 0 points going into halftime. Did not have one catch. Had 17 points in the third quarter. So I am the biggest loser. I lost by 5 points this week. This sucks because this week was not one of those weeks where they scored 170 points. I left Romeo Doubs on the bench. I left Stephon Diggs on the bench. I left Juwan Johnson on the bench while I played people like Rico Dow. I played Loveland. I played people that I thought were going to do big, didn't. I just want to take a moment to say I'm embarrassed. And I want to apologize to my family and friends and to this podcast. Losing 10 in a row is very embarrassing. I don't know if the league's going to ask me to come back next year, as I was picking up people on the waiver wire while people are trying to play for playoffs. So I just didn't want to be the biggest loser. Yeah, it's a sad moment. We're going to obviously have to do this IHOP thing. I am nervous. The night that I lost, I stayed up till about 1 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Talking to Lisa. I thought about ordering IHOP just to see how these pancakes are going to feel, because I think my mind is bigger than my stomach in this one. But yeah, this sucks. This sucks.
Yeah, it was very interesting. We were watching a Christmas movie, and then on the side, you had the game going. And, of course, I'm watching the Christmas movie.
Yep.
And Anthony's like, cheerful, hopeful. We go into halftime. He comes back. They come back out, and he's like, 5 minutes later, he's like, yep, that's it. I lost. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, they came out, and they drove. Juwan Jennings scores that touchdown, and I'm like, well, now I'm done. Because even if he gets one catch, the next drive, he comes across the middle, catches one, and I'm like, it's over. Like there's nothing I can do about it. So I just was like, I'm going to go to bed because I hate this stuff. And then I couldn't go to sleep because I'm like, can you actually eat 20-some pancakes? Can you? And so then I'm like, well, what's a pancake look like for IHOP? Because I haven't had one in ages. And I'm like, all right, so maybe I should order some. They're open 24 hours. I thought about it. It's bad. It's bad.
They're big and fluffy. So
yeah. Well, we're going to tell the cook, hey, minimal.
Down.
Little kids pancakes. Can you just do the little kids pancakes? I got you.
Dollar size, or what's it? $1?
Yeah.
Let's make them small, thin and small, buds.
Thin and small.
Well, stay tuned, everybody. We'll definitely be recording the punishment. Don't know when it's going to happen quite yet, but we will be recording Anthony's punishment for you all to enjoy.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's pivot over now that fantasy is done for the year for this group. Let's move over to the must-watch games for NFL. We might have a different way of watching them now that we don't have players involved. Anthony, what is your first must-watch this weekend?
Yeah, so I want to start off real quick. Christmas, what it could have been, right? You had Cowboys and Commanders. You're thinking that's a playoff contention game. Nope. Okay, then you move on to you got the Chiefs and Broncos. Maybe it's a passing of the torch to the Broncos. Well, not really, because the Chiefs aren't really who they are, and Patrick Mahomes is even there. And then you get the night game, the Vikings and the Lions, right? They played in Week 18 last year to decide who was going to get the division, right?
Right.
It doesn't matter now. So Christmas Day, what it could have been, still sit down and watch the games because this season is almost over. You're going to need to watch them. But I'm actually starting on Saturday, Texans versus Chargers. Great division game late in the season, as there's not many this weekend. Texans, defense has to get after Herbert, which seems very possible. The Chargers give up so many sacks to Herbert. I heard a stat that no quarterbacks had over 40 some sacks with an 11-win season. Herbert's going to be the first. He's right on the border of it. Texans play best when they get a running attack, so the running attack needs to step up. This opens the play action for Nico Collins, Schultz, all of them as well. And then finally, feed Nico Collins and keep Stroud protected, as this game matters, but it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of everything. I think the Texans are going to make the playoffs. So just remember, let's keep those guys healthy since they both have dealt with injuries and are very injury prone. Let's keep them healthy. Moving on to the Chargers, play your game. Run the ball, time of possession. Run the ball, time of possession. This game goes as far as this team goes as far as Herbert, who suffered a broken hand a couple weeks ago. Remember that, okay? Like he's still coming off an injury, so let's keep him protected as well. This is a game determines if the AFC will run through Los Angeles because they're right on the heels of the Broncos. Broncos have Chiefs and Chargers end of the year. They got to win out, and the Broncos got to lose. And even if they both win this weekend, Chargers got to win the following weekend. So they're still in contention. I think that both teams will play hard in this game. I am taking the Texans in this game.
Okay.
It is in Los Angeles.
Okay, very interesting. Well, and I was going to say, you mentioned what Christmas could have been, but I feel like from what we were talking about and what these must games are going to be, like there's still good games out there. There may not be as much on the line, but there's still good games.
Yeah.
I will say in this sense, I think I'm going to go with the Chargers. I'm going to lean on Herbert there to just take the lead. Tim, what do you think about this game? Where do you feel like you'll end up?
I like the Chargers as well. Chargers are playing for something. I mean, they want the number one seed. They want it if they can win out. They want the AFC West. They want it to come down to Week 18 against Denver. And I think right now Harbaugh's got them playing at the right time. And Houston, I'm not really convinced on their offense yet. I think their defense plays very well. I'm not convinced on C.J. Stroud yet. I don't think they have the running attack to open things up and he can't get the ball to Nico Collins. They got to get a second receiver. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think Harbaugh's got him playing at the right time. And I think he wants to win to make Week 18 a must get, to win against Denver to win the division.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'll definitely come down to the wire. Yeah. All right, Tim. Well, why don't you take me over to your first must watch from this weekend?
I'm going to go with Seattle, Carolina. For Seattle, on offense, must control the game, time of possession, and use that strong running the game. As Carolina is very vulnerable to the run defense, their run defense is not very good. On defense, get Bryce Young, get to him, force turnovers, because the Panthers have struggled mightily with lengthy. They can't string along lengthy drives. For Carolina, use the running attack of Dowdle and Hubbard, and keep Seattle offense off the field because Bryce likes to turn the ball over. On defense, for Carolina, you got to contain JSN. You can't let him get open in a wide open field, especially in crucial third downs and late game scenarios. This is at Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Carolina. They play well at home. This is at Seattle. Yeah, I'm jumping all over Seattle. Seattle's got to drive. They got to fly across country. I like Carolina.
Yeah, well, I feel like I might go the opposite way of you there. I feel like I'm leaning towards Seattle. Don't ask me why, but that's just the way I'm feeling. Anthony, what about you?
Yeah, I like Seattle in this game as well. I think Carolina's game is next week that matters the most. I understand that they do have to win this week to keep so that last game doesn't really matter. But I do think that, when you look at this, I think Seattle's offense is playing very well. Their defense is really good. I know that recently they've been playing some good teams, so the defense hasn't looked as good as it has. But against a Bryce Young that just finds ways to make mistakes. And Carolina has the running attack struggled last week. Like, Rico Dowdle didn't do much. Hubbard didn't do much. Like, that has to step up. Well, not great when you have to go against, the second best defense in the league. I like Seattle to win this game. I don't care where they play. They can play on the North Pole. And I think Seattle wins this game.
Okay. All right. Well, take me into your second must watch for this weekend.
Yeah, Sunday night football, Bears versus 49ers. Now, there's some games that we thought were going to be must watch this week, but like because of clinching and things like that, this is kind of one of them, right? Bears have clinched their spot in the playoffs, but they still want to win that NFC North, right? 49ers on the other side, if they can win out, like we said, if they can win out, everything runs through San Francisco till the Super Bowl and at the Super Bowl. Um, this the Bears team, it's like you just got to start with more urgency. We say this week after week after week. This is a 49ers team that will put their foot on your throat, okay? You have to start with more urgency. You got to cut down the penalties. A lot of times with these urgency, the first half, it's stupid penalties that are causing you to slow momentum down. No more dumb penalties. That's how you show whether you're an actual contender or a pretender. Final thing, defense has to step up. This offense of 49ers is very, very, very good. Defense has to step up. We did see them actually do this against the Eagles on the Black Friday. I could see this possibly happen with the 49ers on a Sunday night. You're just going to have to play better than that, though. Like, that was a minimum of what you're going to have to do against this 49ers. Notice how I did not say anything about Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams is playing good right now. Everyone's on him about it. Get off his, you know what? Like, I think he's playing okay ball, and that's all they need. He's like the Rex Grossman or whatever. Take it to the Super Bowl, but just do it by making minimal errors. On the 49ers side, offense has got to keep rolling. We said McCaffrey, definitely for sure. McCaffrey's going to have a big game in here. Both teams do not get after the quarterback very well, and I think that's a big one here. 49ers got to get after Caleb Williams. I think Saleh is going to have a field day with Caleb Williams, with all the different formations, all the different bluff coverages, things like that. Finally, if you get on the Bears, put them away. Because the Bears find ways to win games in fourth quarters. You have to put them away. I think the 49ers can do that. We just saw it with the Colts on Monday Night Football. So I think they will. I like the 49ers to win this game because it means more for the 49ers right now. And I believe it's in San Francisco.
Do you feel like the going against the Colts is a good reference there because they are, without their main quarterback, they're using, you know what I mean? Do you feel like that's a fair comparison?
I do, because like I said earlier, I don't blame Phillip Rivers for that game. Like, Phillip Rivers came out. I mean, some of those balls were absolutely crazy. Good, congrats to Alex Pierce for finding a way to catch the ball. But like, I do think that this is comparable because Caleb Williams is still questioning things. I just think he's playing very well of not making mistakes. Well, when Saleh gets after him, I think he's going to make mistakes. I think the 49ers win this game.
Okay. I was also leaning towards the 49ers. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to have a huge game, but I think overall, I think their offense is a little bit stronger, but then it really, I guess, comes down to the defense. So We'll have to see how that plays out. Tim, how do you think this game's going to fizzle out?
I think this is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a defensive struggle. Yeah. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, kind of like how the Packers game was. I'll let you know later in the podcast.
Hey. I had a little inkling that you weren't going to tell.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, well, take me into your second must-watch.
Buffalo and Philadelphia. For Buffalo, got to be two-dimensional. You've got to lean on James Cook. We've said this many podcasts, and they've got to. It proved last week. You've got to lean on him. And also Josh has got to lean on his wide receivers. I know he didn't have two of them last week due to coach's decision, which Keon Coleman, hey, get your head out of your ass, okay? That's the second game this year you've been sit on a healthy scratch. Get your head out of your ass. On defense, shore up that run defense because I'm going to tell you right now, Saquon is ready to rumble, and he is going to if he can. Philadelphia, get the run game going with Saquon, like I just said, because he can open up for Hurts and either run the ball or pass. On defense, contain Josh Allen. You're not going to be able to shut him down. Just contain him because he's the primary guy for Buffalo. Also, the Eagles need to get back. They also get back two of their key one defensive guy, Jalen Carter and Lane Johnson, and that's going to help them boost up their offense and maybe some pass rush. Both teams are really, they need to win, but they don't. Let's go with Philadelphia. They're the home team.
Yeah, I was kind of curious to be like, where does this game lead that team next? Like, if they win, then what kind of thing? Just to kind of see what they're playing for, because they've had a roller coaster of a season. We've seen Josh Allen be consistent and then not consistent. And then we've seen Jalen and Saquon not have their, tandem in place that is the dominating force that we usually know. Now, if you're saying that it's at Philadelphia, I think I'm also going to lean towards that. But I definitely think it's going to come down, for me personally, I think it's going to come down to the end of who's just going to score last. Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah, you were asking who this matters to more. It matters way more to Buffalo than it does Philadelphia. And here's why. Because Philadelphia is going to play everyone today, but they already clinched a spot. And the Bills have clinched a spot. No, they have not clinched a spot yet, but they're on the close to. But they're also still in contention to win their division. So I think they're going to play all out for this game. I think Philadelphia is not going to as much because you don't want Lane Johnson. You don't want Jalen Carter. You don't want anyone else to get injured. We've seen the Eagles last year literally give up players and later in the year. I like the Bills to win this game just because if they do get the running attack going, which James Cook as of recent has been really great for me because I can tell in fantasy. But go figure, now that fantasy's over, he's probably going to have 4 touchdowns this game. And it's going to piss me off. But, I actually think who's going to have a big game in this one is Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen knows that it's now time to turn it up because we're talking about playoffs and where we're playing at. There's something about playing in Buffalo in the playoffs. If you can find a way to come to Buffalo, I think that helps their Super Bowl run if they can make a run.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to know is like where was the hunger coming from? Who's going to have the more fight in this? So if Phil has already clinched a spot, maybe it is Buffalo. That's like we're not done. We're still on the table.
And I'll say this real quick, too. When we look at the AFC, a lot of young quarterbacks going to be in the playoffs this year, except for one solid veteran. This is a year for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills because you're going against Bo Nix, Drake May. You're going against you're going to go against Trevor Lawrence. You're like maybe Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is old. You don't have Lamar. You don't have Patrick Mahomes in there. Everyone that's been your kryptonite, they're out this year. This is the time to make the run. That's why I think this game matters more because if they can get home field advantage and have the most veteran, still actively good quarterback, because Aaron Rodgers is the most veteran, but, Josh Allen's way better than Aaron Rodgers at this time.
Right.
All right, very good. Well, then we'll have to watch and see that one. That will be a dogfight, I have a feeling. Okay, Tim, well, let's transition over to you. What are your best bets for this weekend?
Since we don't have any college, we're going to go all 4 NFL. But I got a little teaser. You know how in the college, you guys, I pick a kind of a random game you don't really want to watch? My last game will be that. So we're going to start out with the Bears and 49ers. The Bears have covered the spread in each of the last 6 games, while the Bears have failed to cover in each of the last 5 games as underdogs in California. I think the Bears keep chucking along this year. They're 7-1 in the last 8 games. So give me the Bears, and I'll take the 3 points. New England and the Jets. The Pats have covered the spread in 6 of the last 8 games as favorites against the Jets. But the Patriots have also failed to cover in each of the last 4 December games as favorites against AFC East opponents. The last time these 2 teams met, Patriots won 27-14. Jets are terrible. Let's just say they've cashed it in. And New England's back on track after Sunday night. So give me the Patriots, and I'll give you the 13.5.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a lot of points. Tampa Bay and Miami. The Bucs have won each of the last 8 games as favorites following a road loss, while Miami has covered the spread in 6 of the last 7 December games at home. Tampa Bay is struggling right now, and they've lost 6 of the last 7. And Miami, who knows? So I'm going to go out on a limb here. Give me the Dolphins, and I'll take the 5.5.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Come on, Ewers. Come on, Brock Ewers. The last game.
Quinn Ewers.
Oh, I'm sorry. Brock Quinn. Okay, it don't matter. The last game, New Orleans and Tennessee. We got 2 quarterbacks that got drafted in the first round, in Shaw and Ward. The Titans riding high after beating the Chiefs, while the Saints are hungry to extend the winning streak to 5 and end the season on a positive note. Give me the Saints, and I'll give you the 2.5.
Wow.
Them are my best bet.
I know
your
nothing about
interesting
the
game?
Saints. So
That was my interesting game. That was the game that's probably nobody's going to watch is New Orleans and Tennessee.
Well, and I'll say this real quick. Just to talk about your bets, Jets, 0 interceptions this year. 0 interceptions on defense. If they can finish the year with 0 interceptions, that just shows how bad they are. Second thing, Tyler Shaw, I think he's for Offensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year.
Really?
If he can win out, he'll go 6-3. at starting quarterback. That's a pretty solid little record. But I like Cam Ward. I really think Cam Ward's. All right. Well, I do want to move on to one last thing before we get out of here today and before we enjoy our Christmas Eve and Christmas. The Notre Dame saga continues, okay? There's so much hate for Notre Dame right now, and I'm basking in it because I cannot understand how a team that went to the national championship last year, the team that actually deserved to be in the national championship, didn't have to win one, didn't have to win two, won 3 games to make it to the national championship. Notre Dame announced this week that they've scheduled BYU for a 2-home series where they will be playing in Provo next year, and then the following year South Bend. This now has eliminated the USC rivalry game. And everyone's like, oh, Notre Dame, they're just opting out of things and stuff like this. Let's just talk about this real quick. It is very sad to see this game go. USC and Notre Dame is just a historical rival because of where they were, California and South Bend, the teams both, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Brady Quinn, Jeff Samardzija. But there is traditions in college football, but just because you join the Big Ten doesn't make that you can change these traditions. USC has been complaining about this game for so long. Ask Keyshawn Johnson what he thought about the USC. He used multiple explicit words in this, saying that the AD, he's not a real Trojan. The head coach ain't a real Trojan, and that people making decisions aren't Trojans. You don't get rid of this game, no matter what your schedule is. Now, there's people thinking, well, this is the results of the MOE or whatever, the wording on the playoffs. This is what's going to happen. These teams are going to stop playing Notre Dame. No, you're not. BYU signed up. They wanted it. They wanted that smoke right then and there. And for all the other people that are saying, well, why didn't you play them in the bowl game then? Because it does not matter. Let's go play it. You know what? We'll even play you at your home next year, and we'll beat you there, and then we'll beat you in South Bend the following year. I love it. I know it's time to reach out to Barstool Chief about this and get him on the podcast because talking Notre Dame, everyone is so against Notre Dame. They think they're crybabies, losers. I think that Notre Dame is the boldest college in college football right now. They're just not standing up for disrespect anymore. They're going to stand up against it. They're not going to allow people to be like, okay, you want to put us in a Pop-Tart Bowl on ESPN? Not going to happen. You want to snub us out on the playoffs? Not going to happen. Like, they are deciding their future. And guess why they can do that? Because they are independent. They can do that as long as they're independent. If you ain't with us, you hate us, and I love it. I just had to give that off about this Notre Dame saga because it's happened way too much of all this hate. And I just love it. I wait till next year. We're going to run the table again. We're going to be undefeated. And there's not going to be any reason to keep us out of the playoffs for sure. All right. I'm done. Jingle bells. Santa Claus is coming to town. Enjoy your guys' Christmas Eve. This is episode 177 where we talked about the NFL because that's all we got this week. We got games on Christmas. We got games on Saturday. We got games on Sunday. And then we have one game on Monday, I believe, as well. So a whole action-packed weekend of football. Tune into it. Enjoy the family time. If you like what we do, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all those as well. Merry Christmas, and we will see you guys on Monday when we recap all this weekend of football. Have a great Christmas, and we will talk to you soon.